Welcome to UC Today with me, David Dungay. Today we're going to be talking about the role of video in the enterprise with Terry Lyons from PGI. Welcome, Terry. How are you doing?
Hey David, I'm great. And yourself?
I'm really well, thank you. So, Terry, before we get into today's conversation, perhaps you can give our audience a bit of a rundown of PGI and your role within the business.
Sure. So PGI have been around almost 30 years now, and we are operating in the virtual event and the virtual meeting space. And if we go back 30 years ago, we were one of the largest audio conferencing providers. And then we've naturally evolved from there to offer video conferencing and collaboration, as well as more sort of SaaS products. The other products we have in the virtual event space are operator assisted solutions, where we will put an operator on a call with you and give you that sort of white glove service when you absolutely need it. Historically, we have a strong history with a lot of carriers and service providers as well. Naturally, when you have audio and video conferencing, you produce a lot of audio minutes from PSTN dial in and dial out. So we have a strong history there as well that we are leveraging as well. And with myself, I joined PGI about 8 years ago as the head of product for EMEA, and I've had various product roles within PGI. And last year then I took over the collaboration business unit within PGI. So that focuses on our virtual meeting space and video conferencing. So we have three business units within PGI right now, one for audio, one for virtual meetings, and one for virtual events. And so mine is the virtual meeting space.
Brilliant, thank you. So, Terry, let's take a little bit of a look over the last 12 months. Strange period for everyone, as we know. How's that gone for PGI, and how's that changed, I guess, your approach to the market and what you're delivering?
I mean, there's nothing new I'm going to say here on what happened over the last 12 months. It's more meetings, more video meetings, more virtual meetings, more people in the meeting, longer meetings. Ultimately, we had to replace those physical meetings that we had in the office, or partially hybrid ones, with a full-on virtual meeting scenarios. Everyone just needed to meet, but they needed to meet online. So that increase, that led to an increase in video demand for us, and as well around the mobile apps. So huge increase in the amount of mobile apps in particular that were downloaded. People are on the move. It's the one device that everyone has, and at home you have a lot of consumer devices, and you don't have access to a lot of the high-end technology that you might have in the office. So you're trying to work with the consumer devices that you have at home. We've had to add, obviously, a lot of extra cloud capacity to support that demand. We've had to add development capacity to increase the velocity in our roadmap. And we're partnering with HCL Technologies now in the collaboration space to increase the velocity of our roadmap. But the main change for us in the collaboration business unit really is in how we go to market. So traditionally, and with all our other products we still do today, we go direct to market and we go through the channels. But with our collaboration offering today, we are really pushing through the communication service provider market. So that's carriers, service providers, resellers, cable operators, internet providers, and also some large alliance partnerships. So that's sort of our main route to market now for go forward in the collaboration space. And we can talk more about that, our carry in a box offering later. But we've created this solution to address a gap in the market and help these CSPs regain some control of the market.
Okay, well, let's before we get to that, let's talk about the enterprise. It's been a challenging time for businesses of all sizes over the last year or so. But what kind of challenges is the enterprise facing, right now when it comes to their collaboration estate?
So we use this term of the at-home worker, and that is pretty much where we've all been for the last 12 months. And as I mentioned earlier, it's the consumer devices that you have at home, but you've also got reduced bandwidth. You've got background distractions like the kids are running around or the dog is barking in the background. and you don't have access to that enterprise technology that you have in the office. In the office, the IT departments largely controlled the networks that we ran on, whereas now you've got to support the sort of open internet as well. So, things like security would be really important as well. You wouldn't leave your office door open during the day, or, especially at nighttime. But yet, when we all went virtual, people left their virtual meeting office door open, and people crashed into the meetings and did some weird and not so wonderful things in there. So for my team, we find this one of the biggest challenges, because the whole sort of ethos that we have is just getting you into the meeting as quick as possible, allowing you to collaborate, taking away the blockers and the obstacles to get you and your team collaborating. While on the other hand, we want to make sure that the meeting is secure, and there is functionality in there to keep that meeting secure. And we have a new CTO who's based in India called Vipin Tyagi. He joined about 5 months ago, and he's got a research team that are solely focusing on advanced encryption techniques that are not even available today. So that's something that we see as really, really important, not just for the collaboration space, but for our virtual event portfolio as well. And we'll be looking to build those into all our solutions.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that encryption? How is that technology really helping the collaboration space?
So if you look at most of the players there, the encryption that's there today is things like AES 256, and they're all pretty much on par. I know some of the competitors, or our competitors, would have ended up in some hot water, I guess, over their perceived lack of security. But all in all, everyone seems to be pretty much on the same page. But we know that there's an increased demand for security, and the hackers, or the people who want to get into your network, are just continuing to evolve. So what we want to do with that team in India is to just create new technologies there, and some of it is around quantum encryption. And with his team in India, he's looking to build that out, and we can obviously try it on our products first, and we'll obviously look to patent it as well, and push it outside of PGI.
Okay, I mean, obviously, security is a huge question mark around security right now. We're not seeing many security breaches hit the mainstream news media outlets at the moment, but I'm sure that will happen. We are in this crazy hybrid world right now, and a lot of people are struggling with that. We know, but I mean, in terms of other long-term sort of issues, in terms of needs around the collaboration, what else? Where are the other trends? What's driving adoption right now?
So we focused, I mentioned the at-home worker, but that's now, and we're planning for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, and beyond ahead. Populations are getting vaccinated now, and that's great. People can go about their business again, and it's just will be so welcoming when we get that back again. So that old at-home worker will quickly become a hybrid worker. And some people will decide never to go back to the office, and some people will go back 20% or 50, 60, 80% of the time, and some people will go back permanently. So enterprises need to cater for all of those users. Now, all of those users have their own mobile devices, and the day is now spread out beyond 9 to 5 as well. So the IT departments and businesses need to support those workers. And I know it's a cliche, anytime, anywhere, any device, but more so than ever, because, I wake up in the morning, I do a bit of work, I'll get something done in the day, and then I'll go back to work. And some of the days will drag on through the night, because we're working with organizations now that are across 3 or 4, 5 different time zones. So businesses need to support that. We're also looking at, and we know businesses need to cater for things like virtual reception. So how do you keep the office and your organization safe when people start going back to work? So virtual receptionists that can safely see who's coming into the office and can control access there. Room systems that can be controlled by remote controls, or are remotely controlled, or by your mobile device, so people don't have to touch those remote controls that are in meeting rooms. And things like huddle rooms. And a huddle room, it's probably not a great word today, because maybe it's a socially distanced huddle room. But I think offices will be repurposed within buildings, and meeting rooms will be repurposed, and the HUD room will become a real center of that organization as people look to quickly get together and collaborate for 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, bring a few people that are remote online and just get their work done.
Excellent. So, I mean, from PGI's perspective, how are you addressing some of these big changes? The huddle rooms, I think, is a really interesting example of something that's got that word huddle, right? I don't think we're going to be calling them huddle rooms for much longer. But tell us a bit about PGI. How are you addressing some of these problems in the market, particularly around the video piece?
Yeah, I mean, video is probably our number one focus. Video and mobility. They are our two big areas for the next 6 months. And we have a lot of mobile video enhancements coming. And I guess what we're trying to do is replicate the big screen on the small screen. And we're all on meetings now, and 4 or 5 meetings a day can take its toll when you've got that webcam on constantly. So we're trying to make the meeting more engaging to avoid, what you hear termed video fatigue. And some of that will be within the product, and some of that will be addressed with AI. But it's more webcams. My own opinion on webcams for a collaborative meeting is once you go beyond 20, it's you're getting into an event type scenario then, and it's less collaborative. But potentially looking at having 40 people within the meeting, and if you've got multiple screens at home or in the office, can you put 20 on one screen and 20 on the other? Maybe have them doing different things. So certainly supporting more webcams, but not just more webcams on one screen for the sake of it. Looking at things like layouts to allow you to bring those multiple webcams on and allow the end user rather than the host to control what they see within the meeting. But adding all these webcams, creates more bandwidth, and it creates more, performance drag on your CPU and your GPU. So there's a big focus in the company on that. And how do we, as we pack more and more functionality into the software, how do we ensure that we're optimizing performance? One thing that we're looking at as well is this meet now scenario. So within the office, you can walk to the water cooler, you can walk to the kitchen, the canteen, or walk to somebody else's desk, and you can have a quick meeting. Very hard to do that when you're at home. And it's been replaced by things like WhatsApp, and you'll quickly elevate the meeting to a video call. But for a business environment, we're looking at how can we create unique collaborative meet now environments, rather than having to have a one-to-one call and then I need to bring somebody else in, and you have to go and find their calendar, you have to go and find out what solution or what software that they're using and bring them in. And then that will be done sorted through some of the chat enhancements that we're looking at. How can we sync our chat within our product across other platforms, maybe integrated in with text or SMS messaging? I know it sounds old school, but we work with a lot of the carriers, so they want to utilize the networks that they have. They're using their 5G networks. They've put a lot of money into it, so how can they leverage that with the solution that we're building? And then obviously interoperability, you want everything to work together. So, I have my solution, but it mightn't be the solution that your IT department has dictated. You should be able to come into any meeting on your solution of choice.
Yeah. Okay. So you mentioned it right at the beginning of our conversation, Terry, your carrier in a box solution. What is that? Tell us more about what you're doing on that.
Sure. So originally we targeted carriers, and that's why we coined a carrier in a box within PGI. And because of those strong historic relationships that we've had there, we know many of the problems that they've been trying to solve. And traditionally, they haven't developed their own video conferencing or collaboration solutions in-house. They've been reselling, some of the big players that are out there, but that does nothing for their brand. And it does nothing for the bottom line. There's limited margins there, and very often, or more likely all of the time, they're reselling a product, but they're also competing directly against that product. So we've created a private label branded solution for a video conferencing solution, and ultimately that means It's your logo, it's your color scheme, it's your apps in the App Store. So you will search for Company X and you'll find your app. It's not our app in there. It's your URLs, your domain. So it's a true collaboration in a box for carriers. And we've rolled this out to several of our carriers globally so far. And the benefits and what it gives them really is they can bundle this collaboration solution in with their business communications portfolio. And it allows them to regain control of the customers that have either churned away or have been eroding in usage. And they can put this traffic over their own networks. So think back again to the 5G investments that they've done. We can integrate that and work it to support or to run over their 5G and their private networks rather than be a slave to the internet.
Yeah.
It increases their brand recognition because it's their brand. It's not their competitor's brand. It's not our brand. It's their brand that their end users and customers are going to see. And of course, because it's our solution and because we have the relationships with a lot of these carriers, we can offer much more attractive margins and ultimately generate more cash flow for the CSPs. So we've gone beyond the carriers because we know that there's a market there. But since we've been having further discussions beyond the carriers with other service providers and indeed anyone in the communication space and also some large partners and alliances, we know there's an opportunity there. And some of the opportunities we're working right now are with some of the big cloud network providers. So we can leverage their cloud network, but they've got a marketplace and we can sort of collaborate and have a win-win situation there. Working with some of the large hotel chains as well to create a private branded offering for them that they can use. And some of them may have casinos, so there's opportunities there. And also some of the social media tech companies, particularly over in Asia, we're seeing a lot of opportunities to grow partnerships there. So that's sort of our let's call it a collaboration in a box now. We're building the solution. We're taking the risk of all the development. We will help you onboard. And then, we'll help you with your go-to-market. And then it's over then to the CSP to sort of take that out to their base.
Yeah. Well, what a fantastic opportunity. And, the time is right for this type of solution, isn't it? So, Terry, look, before we wrap up today's session, look, 2021 is ahead of us. As you say, people are starting to get vaccinated now. The end, it looks like it's in sight, where we can all get back out into the world. What's exciting you about the rest of 2021 from either a business or personal perspective?
From a personal perspective, I just want to get out and do some group activities again. It's been tough, and one of my kids is going back to school on Monday, so that's fantastic. So I'm seeing the end in sight. And from a business perspective, we've reorged the company here. We split it into 3 separate business units that are separately contained. They have their own P&L, and we have huge opportunities in each of those. I think 2021, as people get back, it's going to be very exciting. I think the economy is going to grow and grow, and it's about making sure that you're set up as an organization to support that growth. And for a company like us to make sure that we have the solutions there that can grow us, but also facilitate others to grow. And ultimately, like our mantra at the start, it's to help people connect.
Yeah. Well, Terry, look, it's been absolutely fantastic to speak to you today. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks, David.
And thank you for watching. You've been watching me, David Dungay, on UC Today. If you liked today's video, please give us a like or a share on social media. It's greatly appreciated. That's all from me. I'll see you next time.